This is Justin AMZN on Monday, April 5th, 2021. We had a continuation higher. We basically gapped up into high wave candle, put in a really nice hammer that only really retested the high from Thursday, and then we're off to the races from there. Really nice strong candle here. We'll come back and look at this. Went sideways for a little bit, popped up. It just rode up on the 5 exponential, finally came back down into the 21 and just really really slowly moved up a little bit here, really consolidated, for the latter part of the day here, kind of squeezing between the red line and this blue line, ultimately kind of pushing up above the blue line a little bit. I'll zoom out and show you where that line came from. But first, back to this candle. So uh, normally really strong candles like this, you can kind of set an entry around the midway point and look for a pullback into that level. It did not work on the stock itself. But if you look over on the option, so this is the 3,300 call, that was a really good place to get in. So the middle of this candle, so the high is 7.8 and the low is 4.4. The middle is 6.1. And you could have set an entry at 6.1 or 6, get in at 6 and a stop down at 5. And it would have worked for 3 hours way over here. So being a Monday, you can get in at 6, stop at 5, target at 9, and that would have worked. This was one of those days where you could have actually been buying just about every dollar increment. So having an entry at 4 with a stop at 3, 5 wouldn't have worked. It didn't come back to 5. 6 would have worked. 7 would have worked here, but you didn't have a great gain from there. 7 worked nicely here, but you would have been holding all the way to the end of the day to get 3 hours. So I guess it kind of worked earlier, buying at 4, buying at 6. Didn't really work buying at 8 because it pulled back down into 7. So anyway, so there was a little bit of opportunity on the 3,300 call. You can go in a little bit closer. It just gets more expensive. So if we look at the 3,250 call, it had a pullback that came below. Well, on the 5-minute on the stock, it came into the base of the high, but we pulled back below the high from Thursday's candle. You just had some wider candles here. So even this candle was 1.2, so it would have been harder to get that. The midpoint of 17 and 10.8, or about 17 and 10, is 13.5. And it did pull into 1350, but the low was 1250, so would have been really easy to get stopped out on that same candle. And if you didn't get in on this candle, then it didn't come back down to, well, I guess it did come back down to 1350 here. I don't know if I would have been doing the midpoint on this option just because it's that much more expensive. So probably stick with 3,300. Just easier to get, $100 risk. And we can see we did pull back into not just the high, but pulled in a little bit lower. Actually opened right around the high. But then from there had a little bit more of a pullback. So the open was 438. The low here was 350. So if you had gotten in right at the open price, or really pretty much right at the close, 430 from Thursday on this option, then it looks like that could have worked as just a place to get in with $100 risk. Sometimes that works. A lot of times it doesn't. But anyway, let's zoom in on this, and I'm actually going to switch over to, actually, let me just zoom out on this first. So we had this wedge that broke out, and we just really continued. We have some more of a consolidation going on up here, and we were kind of squeezing today between the red line and the blue line. So these lines, if I can move back a little bit more, we'll zoom out, it'll be easier to see, but I was drawing in the same angle that I saw some of the lows hitting here, and thought, well, what if we did something like that here? Would we be able to come back into another low? This one didn't really work off of these candle wicks. It worked over here. We hit this. Let's see, where did I originally draw this one? I don't remember that that's where I drew it, but maybe. I was able to draw this angle that we got into some of these lows, and just thinking if we were going to get into another low. So I guess the red line didn't really mean too much. But if we zoom out to an hourly, the blue line meant a little bit more. So this is what I had drawn in, trying to grab some of these highs and then cutting through like where you could have been buying some lows. Didn't really hold these lows too well. It worked nicely over here to get this low, but the highs were lining up much better when I drew this in. And so I had last drawn it out to here, so this is extended beyond. And we got into the highs right here. Didn't really get a good close above it. Pretty close here. Didn't close above here. Barely closed above, and then came right back down the next hour over here. So right now we've got a high wave candle. We're pretty close to the apex of this triangle, and depending on how you draw this triangle, it you can have your apex up or down a little bit. So I'm fine with some indecision right here. I would not be surprised if we came back down to the bottom of the blue line, or the bottom blue line, this channel. It seems like we've been doing this kind of upward trending channel here on the hourly for a few weeks, right? When was this? Actually, for a month. We've been in this range, in this channel, since the beginning of March. So if we break out from here, that'd be great. We do need to have a little bit more of a retest. Even if it were to retest back into the high of this channel and then bounce, it'd be great if that coincided with the 32.50 price from this line. But we're getting into a resistance zone. 3200 is a resistance. This blue line is a resistance, has been a resistance for a month. We really just kind of need to see where this is going to go from here. So nice high wave candle. We can go up, we can go down from here. If we do go down, I'd be saying, buy the dip down here, or buy, on the way back down, kind of pyramid in with a larger position you're getting into down here in anticipation of that holding and doing some sort of an S curve here too. So this is looking strong. It's looking more bullish. If we jump over to the daily, we've had 3 bullish candles in a row. Good volume, so it would be fine to have a day that's a bearish day. We've closed above all of these wicks. We've closed above everything through here. This is the first time we've closed above this candle. So what was this day? This was 223, right? Yeah, so actually we are right into this gap. That's interesting too. Okay, so we have a close above this wick. No, just a close just below it, but we've moved into this gap here right now. So haven't quite closed the gap, but you remember what happened back here. We had 4 really bullish days, some really good volume, took all of that out, got a close below all of these candles except this first one, closed below the shave bottom candle, gap down from there, and we've been down ever since, or at least till today. So, this is a level where we had gapped from this candle to this candle. We made this gap, and the high here, I believe, was still below these 2 lower wicks. So now we've gotten back. Let's see, the low here is 32, 33, and 31 cents, and the high here is above that, 32, 35.96. So we've at least gotten back into this candle's wick and this candle's wick, right? 32, 35.03. Yep, not quite up to this one yet. So if we pause through here a little bit, if we have a bearish candle, I'd want it to pull back, down, like I said, into the bottom of that blue line channel, even coming down to like 31.42, where this line is down here, and put in some sort of an S curve and then continue on up. Be great if we can get the histogram to continue bullish and turn one of these squeeze dots green, just to show that we've got kind of confirmation of the squeeze breaking up. But I mean, the move was down here. The move really started with these hammers down here, and these were really good places to get in. And so this is also a good place to be taking some profits. If you've been in from here, you can get out of a little bit, get back in as it comes back down, or just hold on for the long haul and see if it does continue or not. So that's what I got. Hope this helps. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.